Yeah, hello. Welcome to another episode of the Bearded Men of Real Estate Show. I'm Ray. Say hi, Dan.
Hi, Dan.
We are two Bearded Men of Real Estate, and we never know when it's actually going to go live. There's no countdown. So we're here, we're live, and we have some really big news stories. Really big news stories. And we're going to get to them as fast as possible. But first, we want you to know that if you're watching this live, you can tune in every Wednesday around 12 o'clock Central. What's that? 10 o'clock on the West Coast. And then on the East Coast is 1 o'clock. So you can join us live, and then we can, if you want to, you can comment and we can talk about your comment or you. And so we really appreciate that. And right off the top, just like as soon as I say comment, Melissa Marr comments. She says, "Hey, Beards, heart. Hello." And especially today, if you're a real estate agent, we would really love for you to share the show because we need your opinions, especially from those. I keep saying especially a lot. I'm gonna knock that off. But especially, I don't know what's another word.
Just words.
From those agents who maybe are involved in an iBuyer program with Zillow, or who are big time premier agent partners with Zillow, because Zillow has launched their own brokerage. And we're going to talk about this right off of the top. So share the show. I'd love to hear your opinions, lenders' opinions, title companies' opinions, consumers' opinions on what this could mean for real estate and what this move does. Because previously, and we'll get into more of this, they've always said, hey, we're not going to compete directly with the agents. And this is really their first move to where they're literally competing directly with agents. So we want to know your opinions on that. Please share the show so that we can get some support. I can't put the words like share the show in the comments or Facebook will depress us.
Right.
So I also can't put anything in the show notes about COVID 9 because Facebook will depress us in. So we've noticed some view count changes and stuff like that anytime we mention that. So we got to be careful. But yes, please do send the show around so that we talk to other agents who are finding themselves in a predicament as should they continue to fund their competition or not. We are also going to talk, we have some fantastic economic news. So on the heels of Zillow becoming your competitor, we also have incredible housing news and statistics. Dan, so anytime Dan's been on for 30 minutes, his live view cuts out. Surprise. Okay, so Pete Thorpe said, so weird. I could comment from my iPad, but I can from my phone. Oh, I can comment. So one of those you can't. I don't know. Which one can't he? I can't comment from my iPad, but I can from my phone. I don't know. Please let us know, Pete, so I can direct people to the correct device.
Right. Which one can you is what we want to know.
Which device should we use? I should tell you that we're also broadcasting this live on YouTube. So we have a Bearded Men of Real Estate YouTube channel that we started not too long ago. Actually, we started a long time ago. Then we didn't do anything with it because no one watched. So now we are back on the YouTube streaming live there. Pete Thorpe said he can't from his iPad. He can from his iPhone. Stupid fat finger. So there you go. So yes, please, if you're on your iPad and you find yourself having trouble commenting, you're not the only one. All right. Well, before we get into all this news, Dan, would you take just a second to let everyone know what Be More is actually all about?
Absolutely. And I'm super excited, so I'm going to go really fast. All right. Well, Ray and I met about 3 years ago. Remember 3 years ago, Ray? It's good times, right? Well, I noticed about Ray, I know something very interesting. Do you know what I noticed, everyone?
What's that?
He hates ceiling fans. Hates them.
I don't have one in here. Did you know that? I don't know if you can hear it, but up in this corner, I go big screen. So my office is still under construction. Up. Oh, that's really hard to do. Right there is a little fan in the corner of the room that cools the entire room. I really don't I don't prefer ceiling fans.
So there you go. A thing I made up to mess with my buddy was actually true. Actually true. No, I noticed obviously that he also has a beard, but what I really noticed is that he loves giving value up front, just like I do. To not only clients, but to you guys. So the show is about being more as an agent, but also being more as a human.
That's right. And one of the ways we find it easy to be more is by knowing what is actually happening in the real estate market and what is happening in the world, in the industry as a real estate, but also in the world economy for real estate. So we always keep up to date on what's happening in the news and feel like one of the things we could do is share that news with you guys so that you can know too. If you don't have time to dig through all these articles and figure out what's going on in the industry, then just devote an hour to this show once a week, and you'll know kind of everything that's happening. You'll be up to date on it. So Debbie Rice Miller checks in. Hi. Actually, she says, hey, and I haven't seen you in a long time, so I'm glad you're joining the show today, Debbie.
Very, very cool.
Today's topic. Melissa Mara says, Ray looks like he got some sun recently. Yes, I may have been at the beach. And, whenever you decide to take a vacation, go to the beach, and then a hurricane targets, and that's 2020 for you. We definitely were in a hurricane this weekend.
Well, in 2015, it happened in 2015 to me. So
Pete Thorpe said the biggest piece of news, hands down. Oh, handstand down. Ha, I get it.
So I was going to say that's
Ray got certified as a CrossFit coach. Congrats. I did. So some of you that follow my Instas and stuff, the CrossFit's been kind of a habit and a hobby, I guess.
It's a habit that became a habit that became a hobby.
That's right. It's my release. My release is the fitnessing.
Right? It's a habit.
It's a habit. It's a hobby for habits. Habits for hobbies. Anyway, I got certified as a CrossFit coach. One of the comments was like, as if you didn't have anything else going on and just wanted to add something else to your plate.
Right.
Yeah, sure. But I think a serious career like real estate, in which we have to deal with a lot of stuff. We're always dealing with people in transition, and a lot of consumers that may be watching this, think about your last move and how many changes and transitions you were going through. Real estate agents do that every day, and we live in that space with clients every day. It can be hugely stressful. So one of my releases is CrossFit. So I might as well get certified as a L1. I went to the L1 for the information, but then while you're there, if you take the test and you pass, you get certified. So I'm actually a certified CrossFit.
There you go.
Fiedler said, iPad problem fixed. Don't know how and don't care. Also watching from my home gym. Squats. Very good, Pete.
Squat.
I strongly recommend everyone watch on every device you have. That would be really helpful for us. Debrios Miller said, been busy, had Wednesday class in the AM. Glad to be able to make it today. Oh, thank you. All right. So you ready to get into these headlines?
Let's start. You know how we usually bury it and we usually wait?
Let's not.
Let's go hot. You ready?
We're going in hot. All right. And here it is, the moment you've been waiting for. Zillow launches a real estate brokerage to boost iBuying. Okay, this headline has already been edited.
Right.
Did y'all notice this? So this morning, the news broke at 8:53. I think it was posted on this. Zillow launched Brokerage. They since have edited it to say to boost iBuying.
But it just said
so salaried agents will represent listings on giant. Salaried agents will represent listing giant on cash offers. So this is interesting. It is the first move. Oh wow! See this. So at the bottom of this post, it says, keep up to date for the full story. It was just a little blurb at first, and now there's a lot more context and information that you guys are seeing here live.
You're literally seeing it live.
So starting January 2021, the company has salaried agents that will work with sellers who want cash offers on their homes through Zillow Offers. In those transactions, Zillow Homes will be the broker of record, the company said. So that's the first time that move has been made. Previously, you may have seen your friends if you're in the real estate industry who have partnered with Zillow to do things like Zillow cash offers, and then they use a local real estate agent as a partner in order to do that. This is their first move in which they're no longer using those real estate agent partners. They are themselves a brokerage. So let's see. Previously, Zillow relied on brokerage partners. Wow, that's exactly what I said. Cool. Many customers found that the handoffs and the back and forth between the Zillow employees and the agents to be confusing. So instead of doing a better job with those handoffs, they're just going to take
Wait.
Oh, yes.
Many customers found the handoffs and the back and forth between the Zillow employees and the agents to be confusing.
Right. Yep.
So who said that? Someone from an outside source or someone at Zillow?
Oh, that was Zillow. Zillow.
Okay. Zillow said that. Okay.
Right. Okay. This new approach will streamline the transaction.
So they had
a message. I can't play this message for you, or we could get our whole show taken down for copyright. So I can't play that message, but there is a message from Errol Samuelson, who's Zillow's Chief Industry Development Officer.
So they had to do this.
All right. Samuelson made a point to stress that Zillow is not looking to usurp the role of local agents. Guys, they're starting a real estate brokerage.
I'm so glad I have glasses on now. Okay. I want to go back a minute.
To the article?
No. Just to us, on the show.
All right.
Everything is about us here on the show. We predict everything. We cover everything.
That's right. Yep, we do.
In case you don't watch the show or this is your first time, first of all, if you're lurking, other than my father, you get a pass. Please comment. And get our engagement up and let the other agents know where you're at. We would love to hear where you're at on this. But because everything revolves around Ray and I, we've been talking about Zillow on the show. For the entirety of the show, which is we're at about 3 years now. Maybe in a month, it's about 3 years.
Right.
But we covered it, and it's always been, there's something else going on. It's always been that way. It's never been go pay Zillow $1,500 a month and become a prayer. We've never said that.
Yep.
Whether we have used it throughout the entirety of the show, it's always been, dude, we got to be careful. We have to do something, right?
Yep.
But then I don't know when they switched over, but when the previous CEO, what was his name? Is it Greg Shearer?
No, it was Spencer Raskoff was the CEO. Greg Schwartz was the guy that I felt like was the biggest advocate for real estate agents within the company.
Right. And I don't know. That was a year-ish ago, we'll say, and we covered it on the show. And we both said this, an advocate means you can't not allow this to happen. But that was when the hill slowly sliding down towards our demise, it went boop. And now we're here today. And you're hearing the spin that they are trying to put on it. So pay close attention.
Yeah, and maybe it's not spin.
Are you playing devil's advocate?
Let's play devil's advocate, because I know of some people who will totally be playing devil's advocate as this information comes out. As a matter of fact, I've had a couple of calls from agents in our area already this morning, and I know they're going to give the benefit of the doubt, because what does Zillow do for them? Gives them money in the form of leads. So they exchange money for more money from Zillow, and we will find as many excuses as possible to make that happen. Very similar. This is where CrossFit comes out. Very similar to how people are addicted to sugar. And, right. You could get all kinds of good potassium and minerals from a banana, but you could get the same things from kale. But you don't see people like chewing on kale very often, is because it tastes terrible because there's no sugar, where the fructose in the banana satisfies that craving. Yeah. Same thing with Zillow. A lot of agents are addicted to that. Ding, you got a lead from Zillow. Ding, Zillow concierge. Ding,
whether it's good or not.
Yep. Whether it's good or not. And if they make enough for you to keep it out there, then a lot of agents see it as a form of advertising for yourself, when you could be getting a lot higher return on that investment elsewhere. But we will do all kinds of things to rationalize not losing Zillow by saying, let me address one thing right off the bat. We are not recruiting agents from other brokerages. Zillow is not looking to usurp the role of local agents who have long feared the Seattle-based giant would push them out of transactions, right? This is directly from this article. And they've been saying that for how long? And they've always said, no, we're not looking to start a real estate brokerage. We're not looking to start a real estate brokerage. And what are they doing? And how long will it be until agents say, okay, I'm done?
They literally said, no, we're not going to start a real estate brokerage.
Yep. Debbie, I'm going to get to some of these comments real quick, and then we'll go back in for it. Melissa Mara says, just go in for the kill. Debbie says, hello, of course it's been edited. Use it for your advantage. Offer to get cash offers for your clients. They will notice the price difference. That's true. You could use the Zillow offers for that. Melissa Mara said, did they take out the part about losing 300 million? Or she said about the 300 million. Yes, it did have a section in here earlier. I don't see it right now. It talked about how the iBuying. Oh, no, it's right at the bottom there. Last year, iBuying accounted for 0.5% of the U.S. housing market, or $8 billion in sales, according to the industry analyst Mike Delpreet. Open Door market leader generated $4.7 billion in revenue. Remember, that was top line. The number 2 spot generated 1.365 billion, who was Zillow, up from 52.4 million in 2008, but it still lost 300 million on iBuying.
Wait, the industry or Zillow?
Zillow. I think it's Zillow. I think it's talking about Zillow there. So Pete Thorpe said, that's what happens when you have poorly paid ISAs doing the handoff with vague scripts. Could have been a huge issue. Debbie Rice Miller said Open Door is public. Yes, we covered that. Was it last week or the week before that we covered Open Door going public? Redfin is now hitting the Palm Springs market. Pete said, but yet they form brokerages in multiple states and are getting access to local boards and hiring their own agents. But no, they won't be a brokerage. Well, one of the reasons why they're getting their own brokerage is because if they can open a brokerage in every board in the United States, then they don't need you to click the button that says send this to Zillow in order to get a feed from the MLS to populate their website.
They'll just use that agent.
They'll just use the brokerage account to get that. Jeremy James said, realtors, pay me and I'll put your face on my website. That's what it used to be. That used to be the thing. Pay me, I'll put your face on my website. And then that's what and you'll get some leads. That used to be the line. Melissa Mara said, Pete Thorpe. And they have no clue what they're talking about is to make every house seem like it's available and you can't get it and you can see it within 15 minutes. That is true. They have the new thing where you can request an immediate showing or whatever. Debbie Rice Miller said, well, I just read the median price for a home in California is $700,000. Let's see how Zillow handles that. And Melissa Marr, he just left because he didn't like the direction they were going or knew it was coming. So she's talking about Greg Schwartz, who I thought that was the canary in the coal mine, right? Pete Thorpe says Redfin 2.0. Allison Murphy, with all this great technology we have access to, agents' money would be better spent on tools that can build your business. It's time agents crack down on our MLS and NAR. This is not okay. I totally agree with you. On that note, but I want to add that I think also agents can spend their money actually mastering their craft as a real estate agent. And I think that would be a better use of their time and money because that is something that a salaried employee just can't compete with, is someone who is a literal expert at what they do, who can take a client through the transaction process and is motivated by if they don't do it correctly, they're not going to get paid.
Well,
and go ahead.
And straight up right now, I have first-time buyers that are, things are happening. And I had already gone through a buyer's consultation, which covers kind of everything, but it doesn't cover the subtle nuances of negotiating an offer. And, we're buyers, obviously, and we offered, and then their counter came back and there was a lot of terms in there that are very, very normal to me and to experienced agents. So it takes that to buffer and to let our clients know, no, this is okay. Or here's what's going to happen if we accept that. But we don't have to accept that. We can counter that. We can change the term a little bit. We can do something. And here's the biggest part right now, because most of these markets across America are what? They're sellers markets right now.
Right.
So that's my job to get it as favorable as possible for my clients in our favor, favorable in our favor. Even though it's a seller's market, I'm still going to try to get some benefit for my clients. That's just not going to happen from a salaried employee. They're going to get paid no matter what. Do you think they really care about the outcome? No.
I've never seen it with a salaried employee that's not bonused. Jeremy James says, invest in yourself. You are your business. Allison Murphy says exactly. I'm going to go back to Pete Thorpe's comment, but real estate agents paid $923 million to Zillow. So losing $300 million is nothing. Okay, that's so 30% cost of operating is what that is.
Then that's what they kind of said before. Remember the big story? We made $107 million, but we lost another 200 on top of that. So let me on that specific spot. So remember, when we started talking about Zillow, well, when we started the show, it was if I give them $1, I get back $9. It's a no-brainer.
Right.
And then then they started iBuying. Then they started other programs. It was more expensive for the agent. Well, now I give them $2 and I get back $7. Dude, that's pretty great. Right. And then now it's even the margin is, so it's still like, okay, I get it. And then it was $3 and you get $5 back. And then zip codes got more and more expensive to own that zip code.
Right.
So I wonder, just agents feeling on that part alone, And now they're going to directly compete with you and take your money.
Yep.
Oof.
Debbie Rice Miller said, that's right, Dan. Paul Conti says, preach it, girl. Debbie says, it's time to hone your skills, go back to old school methods, become really good at what you bring to the table. There would be a marked difference to your clients.
So good point. So Chris Murray, our broker team lead, he's the coach for Mike Ferry. And I know Tom Ferry just had, was it last week or week before?
So I think it was like 3 weeks ago. It was Summit.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I don't even know times anymore. But anyway, Mike Ferry is now doing his virtual, and it's 3 days. And we have our weekly call just as our team, and then literally finished. And Mike Ferry went live on his thing at 10. So we all kind of watched it together. It was really awesome. His main thing, and I don't follow Mike Ferry. I follow more Tom. But his main thing, dude, first of all, he's not on any social media sites except for LinkedIn. How cool is that? And he's still as big as he is. But he's like, you got to go old school. You have to make calls. Then he went through his whole story. In 1975, he was doing 3 seminars a day. And on his drives, he would stop at payphones, call 20 brokerages, and then drive again.
Wow.
So I think to Debbie's point, and I made it in our little group chat. By the way, if you're not a Be More contributor, we do have a page. It's BMORE contributors with an exclamation point. You can go join. We've only turned down 4, probably ISIS or Russian operatives, but you can go be a part of that. Whether you're a consumer or an agent, please go join. But I made the point in there of, we still need some technology. We still need video. We still need online marketing. But I think Debbie makes a great point. Hone your skills and really know what you do at a core to get business. And if it's just making calls, just make calls.
Yep. Melissa Mara said, I get 100 leads, but only 5 to 10 are legit buyers ready to go. Jeremy James said, and they take your money. Freaking Mike freaking drop. That probably would have worked better if I said it congruently with what you were commenting on. So I apologize. Right. Space between. Ryan Booker said, sadly, most agents don't understand their true ROI or conversion rates. If they did, they'd realize that they can make the same or more work because they need less leads to do better conversions.
That's that part right there. Less leads to do more, because they're better quality leads when you pull them from, your own listings.
Yep. Pete Thorpe said, be the local expert. Zillow and the other portals can't do that. They have spreadsheets and estimates. You know the market better than they will. Lead with value and you'll win. That's exactly right. Value, value, value. Debbie Rice said, old school with rule. Old school will rule. Handwrite notes. One of my agents just called 27 expired on one listing appointment. Pretty great odds.
Yeah, 27 calls. If you're using Mojo or something, that's going to take you 15 minutes. You have one great conversation. Boom, listing appointment.
That's 4 appointments out of 100 calls. That's great.
That's pretty cool.
Said, I only subscribe to Zillow because I'm grandfathered to $69 a month for maybe 2 leads a year. But I agree. We have to stop feeding this monster. Paul, it is all your fault.
Well,
$69 a month.
Yep.
This is crazy numbers. Crazy.
He also likes that it's 69. So there's
that. Debbie said the market is going to separate pros from the others. It's going to get tough, and the ones who learn to invest in themselves rise to the top. I agree with everything that everyone's saying. I also want to point out that there's no way to stop it. You can't stop Zillow from entering your market as a real estate brokerage because it's a free market and they're almost already there, right? The other thing to do, though, is to possibly slow them down. You don't have to keep giving them money to speed up their success rate. I test everything. I test all the leads, every lead gen thing that's out there. I test because I do it for my agents. We do conversion ratios. We try to use the best scripts, all that kind of stuff. And we've been testing Zillow for years. Well, I've got a appointment set up with our rep for next week in which we will probably just pull out because it doesn't make sense for us to continue to fund them currently. Paul says, I know I suck. I just don't trust. Let's get back to the article. I just don't trust. I'm going to have you up too, Dan. I just don't trust what's happening. Zillow has denied plans to operate a traditional brokerage. Rather, it says some of its offerings require licensing, such as a flex program, which gives agents qualified buyer leads. Agents pay no upfront costs, but get a success fee akin to a referral fee if they close the deal. It is just a referral. Still, the lines between traditional brokerage and iBuying are getting blurry. Let me know if some of you are on this Flex program or if it's working in your market. If you're a part of it, drop a line in the comments and let us know kind of what that looks like, and if you would still consider moving off of Zillow if you do the Zillow Flex. Brokerage giants Realogy and Keller Williams offer online home buying options, and in June, OfferPad launched a real estate solutions division that allows clients to list their homes with in-house agents and use a concierge service to get their property ready to list, which we also covered on the Bearded Men of Real Estate show when that happened.
And we also launched Be More Bids. It's a quick system.
That's right.
What you do is you go to Gmail, Yahoo, whatever you have, you bring up a little window, type into it, and hit send, and then we'll present your offer. It's pretty quick.
You can actually use your own portal. So Be More Bids uses every portal that's out there that sends a electronic message.
Yeah, you don't even have to go to our website. You can literally use any portal. We're compatible with all portals.
It's open source. It's an open source program, and you create a electronic message, and then you send that to the listing agent, and they will present your online offer.
It's literally push of the button.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So Thorpe said, I just got a 35% referral. That's all, which is why I opted out completely a while ago, despite the repeated calls, and I'm not looking back. Debbie Rice said, my company has a concierge service too. There you go. Be More Bids. We got fans out there using the open source technology called email.
Wow.
All right. So here we are. I'm going to look at this article, see if there's anything else. Zillow said brokerage operation is different from its rivals since agents will only work with Zillow offers currently, is what they say.
It's what they say.
I mean, it's like they're building it. They cannot afford real estate agents to back out from funding what they're doing. And when Greg left, I mean, that was it for me. I started looking for what's happening, and sure enough, man, this is the biggest move they've ever made to operating themselves. And what was the reasoning? The inconvenience of the handoff from their concierge to the agent.
Right. So make it horrible on purpose, and then go, okay, well, we can fix that.
We can fix that just by doing it ourselves.
Right. So I have a question, but hit Pete's comment first.
Pete says Zillow gets 30 to 35%. Uncle Sam gets 30% plus. Broker gets a piece. How motivated to do anything but push paper do you think those agents will be? Flex. Weird flex, but okay.
Great flex. So my question is, are we going to start seeing Zillow signs in yards?
Yeah. They already have the Zillow offer signs in yards.
Right.
You could Google that.
But now it's going to be...
CNN did an article about them losing so much money recently and took a picture of it.
But now it's going to be my face on, like, Zillow is my brokerage.
Yeah. If you're a salaried agent.
And I'm going to have my arms crossed.
Yeah.
So I'm serious. So...
And maybe back to back with the other agent.
Yeah, like, here, I'll do it this way.
We should do this. Wait. The other way. Go the other way. We can do this.
This way.
Yeah, there you go.
That's a screenshot for this show.
That's it.
So there's just so many questions here. And my thought also goes to, with a lot of these, what we hit on is, and I think this one is very, obviously we're covering it as what does it do to realtors, but what does this mean for consumers? Are they further being deceived? And I mean, there's only one answer,
so explain the deception there. Wait, let me get to Jeremy's comment really quick, and then I want you to explain this deception. Jeremy said exactly, they can't afford agents to back out of funding their expansion. I've hollered this for years, but checks get paid. It's only a matter of time before Zillow has a broker in every state. Mike Elizabeth Rodell said the pre-recorded handoff that buyers think is an actual agent. Oh yeah, that's why she said, here it is. Wait, let me find this. Stupid Alex. Yeah, we all know Alex. Alex says the pre-recorded handoff.
I don't know. Is that what? I don't know. Alex.
Oh yeah, it's the same. It's the same message every time. This is Alex. I'm. What's it say? This is Alex, and I'm connecting you with an agent now. And the person's like, "Thank you." Melissa Barr says, what is the salary? Has it been found anywhere? I don't know the salary.
It's going to probably depend on the state and the city and all that stuff.
Shana Martinez says, I'm pretty sure I saw a Zillow sign in the yard here, DFW, last week. Those are Zillow offers that they own. And then usually a partner agent at the top. So it's like a rider sign. It has an agent sign below it.
Right. But this isn't going to be a partnership. This is going to be a Zillow agent listing the home.
Paul said Berkshire Hathaway has OpCity, which is part of Realtor.com. Agents get leads. They're mostly weak, though. Agents are charged 35% off the top, no subscription fees. I prefer to work with my own leads instead.
But not wait, there's more.
There's more. I forwarded an email to Dan last week, and because Zillow broke today, we just are probably not going to have time to talk about it. But now there's an additional 3% fee that you get to pay as an agent to allow your clients to get a rebate for using an OpCity agent. So now it's a 38% referral. Well, you're welcome.
Well, okay. So I quit using, I don't even know how long ago. I just literally I got rid of OpCity a long time ago. But they offered that. That was here. So we were one of the main markets here in the LA area or Southern California area. But they had these. So it was, you would get the email or the text, and it was a new client rewards referral is available. And it's supposed to be built. And this isn't Zillow. This is OpCity and Realtor.com. So it's supposed to be a better lead, a better quality lead. And then that's why they're trying to justify the 3%, but it comes through the same way. It's the same handoff. It's the same everything else. And then if there's a higher price point, which I work a lot of higher price points, guess what? That 3% goes up as well. So it's now made its way to Little Rock, Arkansas. And so I thought that was really funny.
Interesting info about OpCity. Christina M. Smallhorn checking in. She says, hello, gentlemen. Hello, Christina. That's how I imagine you saying it. And then Paige says, finally watching. What I miss. Oh, girl.
Oh, you've missed so much.
This is a good point, too. Jeremy James calls it mission creep. It starts with one area supposed to mission. And then after a while, their mission expands to full invasion. And Sean says, no, it was different than the Zillow offers sign. I hope you took a picture. Shoot us a picture.
Clayton mentioned that they already had a brokerage there. So maybe that was one she saw.
Yeah, and Mike Elizabeth Rodell's getting a lot of mobile home buyers that are not qualified. That's good from the OpCity. Yeah, you gotta close those in order to get a better OpCity lead. So,
yeah. Which, dude, I literally stopped doing everything. Stop following up. Stop making calls. Hold on.
Oh, your thing went live. So while you're messing with that, Ellis Home Inspections, Patrick Ellis says, I wonder how long it'll be before Zillow supplies the vendors list. It won't be long before vendors have to pay to be on their list.
Right.
Yeah. Or maybe they'll just have a Zillow inspectors division. Do it all in-house. Not only
go ahead.
They'll inspect the property before they list it and then just give you a copy of the inspection with their preferred inspector.
So wait, hold that because that's partly of the deception. But I want to go back to the OpCity thing first. OpCity is they're horrible leads, but what did he say there? Who said it? Yeah, info about OpCity. But yeah, they I lost my train of thought because I went back to the Zillow thing.
Were you talking about when Mike Elizabeth Rodell said it's just terrible mobile home buyers?
Yeah,
you were talking about the continued deception with
I was going to come back to Zillow, but yeah, the OpCity leads are just they're not good. Oh, the score. Yeah. Because I stopped updating. I stopped making my weekly calls on OpCity leads specifically. My score stayed at 113, which was highest in the area. So it's just all BS. But anyway, so let's go back. And I honestly don't want to move on for the Zillow story. I think we need to discuss it. I think this needs to bigger. We need to get Susie Orman on this. She needs to make a post about this. But for me, the deception is, and if you go back up to Melissa's, well, I think it was Melissa, how they're being deceived, but who made the comment? Someone made the comment. But the biggest thing to me is that consumers are going to think they're getting a seasoned agent that has all the skin in the game. If I don't close this, I don't get paid, because that's the bottom line, right? Obviously, there's all the, I'm going to do my best to take care of you. I'm going to help you be knowledgeable about this next transaction, either on the buy or the sell side. But at the bottom line is my motivation is to help you get top dollar, not only for you, but so I can close and then feed my family. That's the core motivation. I'm not saying we don't all have whys and big this and big that. I'm just making it simplified. But consumers are thinking that they're getting a legit agent when most of the time they're going to get someone that has a really new license and they're salaried. Wait, do they have to be licensed? They have to be licensed, right?
Well, I think there's about 10% of agents that make most of the money. I think you're going to have a lot of agents that they're the ones that are going to have to either change their model, go out of business, or join a company like Zillow and just get the salary. I know of agents right now that I could offer a salary for and do the same exact thing that Zillow is doing, just have low fees and hey, you get the salaried agent. I just don't believe that's perhaps the best model. I think there are other models that service the consumer better. They think that this is one way to do it. Now they're saying that they're not open it up. They're saying that it's still for only those offers, those in the offers program. We shall see. We shall see. Jeremy James says Zillow's hacking Ray. So one of us is breaking up. I don't know which one it is. Maybe me. We just had 2 Redfin agents joining our brokerage. They switched because they can make more money by doing 12 to 15 transactions instead of doing 50 transactions with Redfin. That's Chat TV.
That's what, kid. All right. I think we went right into a deep dive. We're good.
Uh-oh. Hang on just a minute. You're really slow or I'm really slow. Something is happening. Tell us if you're still watching. What is going on? This is crazy. It seems like every time we have a really big story like this kind of thing happens.
Weird. Zuckerberg's hacking us. Yeah, my connection's really strong.
Oh. Mine is too. I mean, I'm on near. That's weird. Okay, we'll let it recover a little bit. So and why don't you go ahead and go buffering? Everybody said some buffering. Is it Debbie or is it Debbie? Is it Susie Orman or is it Mark Zuckerberg or is it? Oh, hey Rachel. She joined the show. All starts with having a better platform to search than Zillow. Yeah, I think that's the
everyone's blame. It's all Ray's problem. Buffering. Ray's breaking up. Yeah. I do look great. Yeah, there you go.
All right. For me, it's all connected and it's fine. So I don't know.
Well, I can still hear you and you're not delayed to me. It's just the audio or the videos a little bit. I wish it was the other way. You could hear me, but you don't have to see this. You know what I mean? So I'm sorry that it's backwards, guys. But anyway, let's move on.
Okay. Yeah. So that in the next series of articles, I think are really crucial because they go together and it kind of shows you the deception, not only from the media, but also from the real estate industry as a whole and how we report things.
And you guys, you really have to do your own research about your market. You know, these are national numbers we cover. So at the end of this, I have mine and it's not at all what the national is doing. You know, the national averages are doing. But yeah, these all tie together. And it's when you read the headlines, existing home sales jumped to a 14-year high. Mortgage demand from home buyers now up. Home equity surges. You read all these things, but you really got to read the stories because at that third one I read, there's a very big thing. And then we have another one that contradicts that very big thing. So you got to really read into these articles or just watch our show every Wednesday at 1 p.m. on the Cheese Toast. All right. So existing home sales. I always got to plug. They jumped to a 14-year high as prices set another record. So this is from CNBC. After a record-setting July, the housing market still shows no sign of cooling off. Sales of existing homes rose 2.4% to a seasonally adjusted annualized rate of 6 million units, according to the National Association of Realtors. Sales were up 10.5% higher compared with a year ago. 10%. So, dude, that's crazy. So that's just insane to me. During the Rona, we have to call it the Rona. This is the highest sales pace since December 2006 before something big happened. Sales were hampered only by a lack of supply. There were 1.49 million homes for sale at the end of August, down 18% annually to a 3-month supply. The number of homes for sale when sales were last this robust in 2006 was more than double the current supply. So we've been saying on the show since day one, we need listings. There's a couple of quotes here. I thought they were fairly pertinent, and then I'll break down my numbers real quick. But this is from Lawrence Yun. He's the chief economist over Realtors, or National Association of Realtors. The imbalance of supply and demand will hurt affordability soon, and once that appears, it will hinder home ownership rates. So he's kind of giving a grim foreshadowing there. And then another quote from, where is she? She's in here. Danielle Hale. She's the chief economist at Realtor.com. In early September, new housing supply took a hit from wildfires and hurricanes, and sales activity weakened. But because the impact of natural disasters has been more supply-oriented than demand-oriented, prices are expected to remain high. The combination of high prices and low supply is going to continue to make finding a home even more difficult than it already is. So 3-month supply, that sparked something. And I've run my numbers pretty much every week for the last, for a while now, since we've been dealing with the Rona. But for the year, Rancho, the city I live in, Rancho Cucamonga, California, we're averaging about 133 sales a month. Okay, so we had 1,200 and something sales for the year in my city. Current actives in the same city and total, this is condos, single families, everything, 186.
Wow.
So we're at a month and not even a half, dude, of inventory.
Paige said it's nuts. Last sale 2 days, 40 showings, 5 offers, all over asking, landed $25K over, no contingencies, 17-day close.
So can I go through one of those scenarios on one of my listings?
Yeah.
We listed it. We said, screw it. Let's list it at the crazy price, $465. And it's in Riverside. Great. I mean, it's the house. I don't know if you guys probably, I don't post all my listings, but you've probably seen the one with the crazy awesome backyard. It was that one. So it's a very, very special house, and it's adorable inside. It's perfect. Listed at a crazy price, $465. 50 showings over the weekend, 22 offers, countered 10 of them, ended up in escrow at $505,000, $40K above asking. Now that's awesome, right? That's killer. Like, I'm amazing for being able to.
Did they waive the appraisal contingency on that?
So I kind of mentioned earlier about it's a seller's market. We had no appraisal contingency on that 505 and a $25,000 buffer if it came in low.
Wow.
So essentially it could appraise at 480 and my client still got 505. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So here's the craziest thing, because all these crazy prices are like, dude, that's awesome. You did a great job to get your client's top dollar. But what has to happen? It still needs to appraise if you don't have that buffer, which I so elegantly negotiated in for my clients. Toot toot, but it appraised at 505, Ray.
Yeah, so in Arkansas, in my market, if you get 30 offers on a property, you've priced it wrong. That is not happening, and it should not happen in our marketplace. So I understand in the bigger and major markets and things like that why that's happening. I understand a couple, maybe just 1 or 2 areas in our marketplace that should get maybe 10 to 15 offers. But if you're getting 20, 30 offers, you probably priced it under value. And we'll see what happens as the previous, because if you only look at the last 6 months of sales and you do a comparative market analysis, then you're going to miss out on maybe the absorption rate. The absorption rate is looking at the rate of sale, right? So you can look at 6 months ago, and then you can look at what's currently active. But if the absorption rate has increased because the numbers you're looking at were right after COVID, well, hopefully we won't get tamped for me saying the word. But anyway,
it's a Rona.
If that happened, then you would be looking at a scenario in which you could calculate the absorption rate and see that you should price it more towards the top of the market instead of the middle of the market where what you're looking at. So anyway,
and we tried to do that, right?
Right.
We did. We thought we were insane for asking that.
Paige said, I just put an offer on a house for me, waived my commission, and still had to go 30K over asking. Wow. Patrick Haggerty, hey buddy. He goes toot toot for sure. Jeremy says, waive commission.
That's a lot of question marks. We can have that
for her. It was for her. She's probably just kind of getting a. All right. Debbie said, that's the issue, Ray. Appraisals are not coming in at market price and buyers are having to bring cash to close.
Right. That's where we're at too.
He gives us info in his market. He said last week, 188 new listings, 198 pending, 198 closed. We were still selling more than we are listing.
Yeah, that's 10 more. They sold more. Well, they sold a lot more. I mean, there's 10 more closed than new listings.
He said we aren't seeing waived appraisals yet, thank God. Paul Conti with a great point. He said, just curious, do you think the negative publicity about Portland riots may be slowing the demand in the city? Yes. Yeah, totally. Isn't there like a whole section of the city that people can still not get into?
Well, if you scroll up, Tom Butts has a comment, so maybe he's...
Let's see, Tom. Okay, Tom says, Portland, Oregon Metro is at 1.3 months of inventory, up from 1.2 months in July. So that's still low inventory, though.
Right. That's not enough to say it's because of the riots or whatever, but they are, it's not enough to say that. But yeah.
Okay, I also want to bring out some of the lingering Zillow conversation that was happening as I was going in and out. Hopefully I'm back now. But there were some good comments that were being made right towards the end of that, and I couldn't get to them all. But Paul Conti said, do we know if Zillow agents will be on salary? I've gone up against Redfin saying that salaried agents will work for the company, but I'll work for you, the client, because I'm building a long-term business. And I've shown disgruntled Redfin agent comments on Glassdoor.com. Maybe we can attack Zillow the same way. Very interesting point. Basically saying that he uses them in being in the marketplace as a negative
against themselves, kind of.
Right. Debbie said, I think it's a salary with a bonus.
Yeah.
And then Paul says, yes, so we can attack them in the same way. So that's a very good point. I just wanted to bring that back, and we'll probably attach that to the end of the Be More Chops that we do. If you guys haven't seen it, be on the lookout. We will be doing little pieces of these conversations, chopping them up into smaller segments so that we can get that info out there.
There you go. Chops.
There you go. Chops. You should see the logo that we have for Be More Chops. It's pretty good.
No.
Okay.
No.
So let's talk about mortgages.
My cat was giving me that look. No.
For the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about mortgages and mortgage demand, and we've been saying that it was, you remember like 3 weeks ago, it was 40% higher than it was a year ago. Mm-hmm. Then last week, it was only 6% higher than it was a year ago, which we would have like been praising. Right. Well, it's back up again this time. So mortgage demand for home buyers is now up 25% from a year ago. And that's specifically for home buyers. So it's 25% over what it was a year ago, but it was only an increase in like 3% for the previous week. Let me find that stat specifically. Mortgage applications to purchase a home rose 3% for the week, but were 25% higher than a year ago.
Yeah.
So buyers continue to flood the market despite their home prices being in tight supply. Here's a quote from Joel Kahn. He's the MBA economist. Mortgage Bankers Association chief. He's not a chief economist. He's just an economist.
He's an economist.
That's right.
An economist.
Oh, we got to do. So mortgage application activity remained strong last week, even as the 30% fixed rate and 15% or 15. Not sorry. Let me restart because it's not a percent. Mortgage application activity remained strong last week, even as the 30-year fixed rate mortgage and 15-year rate mortgage increased to their highest levels since August. Whoa. Both conventional and government refinance activity, in particular FHA refinances, picked up last week. So despite the month or 2 month high, we still saw an increase in the number of people looking to purchase and the number of people looking to refinance. So maybe the people were looking to refinance and they were thinking about it, and then all of a sudden they saw the mortgage rate tick up and they're like, okay, let's go now. I expect to see more volatility in the future due to this in part being an election year, though. Tom Butts said, okay, so this answers your question that you had earlier. He said, no, the riots don't seem to have much effect. I was just talking of town buyers. I was just taking out of town buyers around when the feds were also here, quote, defending the city. It didn't faze my buyers at all. Paul Conti said, once sellers redisgruntled Redfin agent comments, they're working with the man and are underpaid. many sellers won't want to list with them. That's back on the previous. So.
Well, and also just wait till same thing with Redfin. Agents leave Zillow and go, dude, they were horrible work environment. I didn't get this, I didn't get that, and then they'll throw it on, what do you call it, Glassdoor?
Yep.
Yeah.
So mortgage application volume is up. Debbie Rice Mill with an interesting comment. Another reason could be forbearance. If they haven't caught up, they can't refi.
We have stories about that.
That is a good point. We'll get to some of those stories in a minute. But it is looking like an uptick, because usually when mortgage application volume goes up, then that means sales also go up, which we should be seeing in the next week or so, an increase in the number of existing home sales.
Yeah, it seems like we cover, mortgage applications, and then we do actual sales, and then we do actual closes. It goes cyclical, I guess you could call it.
Yeah. So speaking of, tell me about home equity.
Well, home equity surged, I guess, as demand soars and mortgage rates hover near lows.
What?
I mean, it's not a big deal. Hold on, let me read you that. Home equity surges as demand soars and mortgage rates hover near lows. Woohoo! All right, sorry. I just blew your ears out. After a brief stall in home sales. So this is and the end of this, because as I'm reading through articles and I pull stuff, I went, huh? After a brief stall in home sales at the start of the Rona, home buyers came rushing back in so fast that prices never even took a hit. In fact, the gains in prices accelerated quickly, causing home owning equity, is what I tried to say, home equity to soar even more. Caca! Something's wrong, man. Something's wrong in my head. I can't focus. Home equity for homeowners with a mortgage rose 6.6% annually. Home prices accelerated as they slowed. Collectively, that adds up to, let's see, $620 billion or $9,800 per home. Dude, that's awesome. 10 grand nationally per home. So home, by the way, I literally wrote in, Ray, I wrote in dude, didn't read the dude, still said dude. Home values have continued to rise and are now up 5.1% annually, according to Zillow, which always gets me. Like, how do we trust their data? But anyway, price gains accelerated in 48 of the 50 largest metropolitan housing markets across the country. The reason is twofold. Demand is outpacing supply by a lot, and mortgage rates are sitting near record lows. The latter gives buyers more purchasing power, which is very important as prices go up, right? So here's the part you need to listen to. In addition, and perhaps even more important in these difficult economic times, the number of mortgaged properties in negative equity position, where the mortgage is bigger than the value of the home, dropped by 15% annually during the Rona to just 1.7 million homes, according to CoreLogic. That's 3% of all mortgages. This is especially important because some borrowers are now unable to pay their mortgages and could end up having to sell their homes. But as long as they have some equity building up right now, it could bridge that gap, right? So they would not be forced into foreclosure. So maybe it's not all doom and gloom. And I kind of said it last week where I said, hey, as one part of the market stops thriving and one starts to show up a little bit with those foreclosures, it's going to, the demand is still going to be there and the buyers are still going to be there. But this says dropped by 15% annually. By the way, not just in the last month, not just since the Rona started, annually. So it takes into account the strong end to land last year, the strong start to this year, the dip, the huge forbearance boom, all the way through settling down, and now where we're here, and it's still dropped by 15%, Ray. That's a big deal. We need to know this. We need to know this because so many articles right now we covered on the forbearance bros, doom and gloom. So many articles are saying it's going to crash. It's going to crash. Susie Orman, it's going to crash. It's going to crash. This doesn't say that, Ray.
It's a very interesting point. And we know that housing starts at the beginning of the year were 13% higher than it all kind of went to kaput. But we also know that based on last week, builder sentiment is up and housing starts are starting to head up again. So we do know that they're building more, but we still need more supply. We still have historic low rates. We still have buyers looking for properties. We still, in some cases, have more homes being sold than listed. So it doesn't seem like doom and gloom is here to stay. However, there could be some segments that are completely impacted, which I'll get to you on the very next article. Deborah Rice Miller said it could bridge the gap if they haven't been forbearanced because they will not be able to get a new mortgage for 4 months. Wow, really? 4 months? Yeah, you would think that there'd be like a special program for those in forbearance.
I mean, there has to be. It's a very extenuating circumstance why they cannot pay there. If they were current, lost their job due to the Rona, and all of a sudden they're in forbearance, there has to be some leeway, or they could just let all these 1.7 million homes go into foreclosure, and then let's see what happens.
And they won't have to short sell the house possibly.
So that's what I immediately went to. Like, just if they were super close, but maybe paying commissions, or they were 50 grand off. Now, if they were that close, then now it's possible they could sell as a standard sale. And, and even though, they won't have they have to go rent or something, but if that helps them and gets them out of a situation where they, have to be foreclosed on, I mean, there's a lot of positives in this story, and it's kind of bumped down to the bottom of the article.
Oh, Rona. So Debbie Rice Miller says no forgiveness at this point. Yeah, I know that is the policy, but I think we will see something very different if there is a plethora of individuals that need the help. I think you're going to have banks that give in just because they can't hold that many foreclosed properties on the books. So I think it'll be slow. We may see the spike in the number that we kind of talked about last week. We may see a spike in the number initially because the number of foreclosed homes hasn't really caught up to what it is normally. But I think after that, mortgage brokers are going to have to, well, not brokers, but banks are going to have to do something about the number of foreclosed homes on the books. They don't want to see themselves in another 2008 either.
Right. Yeah, of course. And none of this is black and white. None of this is cut and dry. So obviously we're reporting current numbers. We have to be aware of this, but so many things are in our brains with Facebook and all these things that just negativity always tamping us down, always.
Did I lose you or did I get lost? I can't see Dan. Can anyone else?
Pushing us down. We got to read past that.
All right. Dan's turn to freeze up, it said. Uh-oh, they got Dan. Oh, no, they got Dan. Okay, so it's not me this time. Right, you're still here for me. Ad stream.
Hey.
I got two Dans.
Why? I left the studio.
I don't know. I'm going to remove your other one. Okay, there it is. I don't know what happened. It froze. Michelle West says, I can see him. I can't hear him.
Uh-oh, they got Dan. So they couldn't take you down, Ray. So they're coming after me now.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, that's so fun. I was sitting there for a minute and I'm wondering, like, I don't want to interrupt him if everyone else can hear and see him. So I think there's a good minute where I'm just going like,
yeah. No, and I had already finished a point. So
Greg says that was awesome. All right. So since you guys can see me and since Dan is like refreezing again, I'm going to go ahead and go to the next article here, which is kind of what I was telling. This is Dan, you're kind of cutting in and out, but this is kind of what I was saying, that it does impact negatively one section of the economy. I just mean kind of the whole, how do you say the word pandemic without saying pandemic?
The Rona.
The Rona. Yeah. So the Rona has had a key impact on a certain segment of homeowners, and it is landlords. And we've talked about this a little bit. If you recall, we talked about specifically landlords that were in second home communities and how some of them were hit by the restricted travel bans and such. So now here's kind of an updated article. Millions can't pay rent. Landlords are making less than $50,000 a year, are caught in the middle. Uh, so the bullet points are there. It's mainly talking about what they call mom and pop landlords that are in a worse financial position than the higher earning peers, those that owns huge portfolios of homes.
Right.
Roughly a third of individual landlords who own residential property are from low to moderate income households, those incomes of 90,000 a year, according to researchers at the Hamilton Project Economic Policy Arm. Such landlords have a greater share of their income from rent relative to others. So this is talking about those that are specifically collecting a higher percentage of rent revenue than most other people. It gives an example. The basic reason. Let me put this back up here. This is the basic reason this is happening is because unemployment has hit those in low to moderate income levels who are the highest percentage of renters as well. And this is something that I think Dan and I talked about right at the beginning of all this stuff that was happening. As soon as that there were a bunch of layoffs, we saw people that worked in restaurants being laid off. We saw people that worked in bars being laid off. And Dan, we were talking about this with at the very beginning, that we don't think it would affect homeowners as much as it's going to affect those who pay rent. Right. And because it affects those who pay rent, it will eventually affect those who are landlords, specifically the accidental landlords is what I call them. And these are people that like 2 or 3 years ago, they couldn't sell their house for what they needed to get out of it because they were a little bit upside down. So they went ahead and made the move. They rented out the place. And now they have a renter in there that's not paying rent, or maybe it's just emptied out and they have a situation in which somebody can't rent the house for what they need to make out of it. And so now they're back in a position where they're upside down, or maybe the air conditioner went out this summer on top of them also being in a situation in which they don't have a renter.
Yeah. I mean, the great news is though, right now that if, going to that scenario, the accidental landlords, it wasn't a good time to sell. If they wanted to, but couldn't, now it's a great time to sell and it would get them out of the situation. Yeah. Now, I don't mean to be crass about this. Oh, well, you can't have a renter in there because they can't afford it. So just sell your house. I'm really not trying to be crass. So I'm just more trying to provide a solution. But it is a great time to be selling, obviously, or we need to switch up and just, unfortunately get back out there and market the home to see who else can rent it, but if you had to, or if, cause I have some, clients that have like 3-4, homes, and they're all rentals, and that's kind of their retirement. So they don't look to make a ton off of it, but when you have 3 or 4, you make pretty good money, and you can retire, and you have to maintain 4 houses, and it's kind of the handyman job, and they kind of have fun with it. But if you sold off a couple of those, that would really help you get through these mortgages, for a couple months at least until we figure out the Rona.
And if you ever bought a house for an investment, it would make sense to sell that investment at one of the peaks, right? So Debbie Rice Miller kind of said the same thing. Time to reach out to investors, ask if they consider selling. Melissa Mara said, my brokerage has ended up having a record season this year when it comes to vacation and short-term rentals. So some of that happened when people were leaving out of the larger cities and going to a short/long-term rental situation, which they would stay for a couple of months. That way they don't have to go back into the big city that was, full of the COVID.
Well, like when they flooded out of New York City. Sorry, just kidding, Jay.
Jeremy, yeah. If y'all didn't catch that episode with Jay, we had him, who is a real estate agent, and
in New York City,
kind of talking about the real situation there, not just what you read. So Jeremy James says, big question when reaching out to seller landlords, since we have an eviction hold, how can the investor or homeowner get in? That's a really good question. I have no idea the answer to that. So I don't know that all states have an eviction hold. I don't think that we do.
Yeah.
Paul Conti said, that's awesome that people are still traveling this summer with all the craziness. Yes, we did. I mean, I'm just coming back from the beach now, right? Melissa Marr said, and still are, the homes are renting out weekly throughout October this year. Yeah. For me, that's not, I mean, if you're in an area that is less impacted, but you're near a large city, I feel like that is not as unusual. I feel like that would happen and should happen as part of it. Anyway, the article is on CNBC. If you want more information about that, I think it could be good just to kind of know and brush up on what your landlord clients may be going through, or your accidental landlord clients may be going through, and to gently reach out to them to see if now would be a good time to sell. If the home is emptied out, it may be actually easier to sell it right now than if it's just somebody living in there not paying rent. But if the home has emptied out because they were evicted or they couldn't pay, then it's probably a good time to go ahead and clean it and then try to offload it. All right, Dan, you ready to get into this opinion piece?
Yeah. So this one, I'm just going to read the article and we'll just kind of react to it live because everyone's doing reaction videos. There's actually reaction videos to other reaction videos now on YouTube, which is crazy to me. That
real estate agents react.
Wait, hold on, Ray. Yeah, there you go. There's our. We had a good one with the back-to-back earlier, but that one was pretty good too. So now we have our screenshot. Although our thumbnail for this video specifically is pretty good. But anyway, so I'm going to read this. And then let's see. So this is opinion. Literally starts off with opinion, and was the same day. So the other one, the story that I did before with 15% less of mortgages in foreclosure, written same day, just a few hours later. Okay, so the Rona lockdown is squeezing real estate from all sides and threatens to burst the housing bubble, or the housing and mortgage bubble. That's a pretty weighty headline. And I'm a little bit concerned that it's from MarketWatch. Usually they just report what's happening, but they decided to put out an opinion.
But it has the big tag on it that says opinion. So they can say whatever now.
I know, but that's the thing nowadays is people read this and they don't see the opinion part and they just go, oh my God, Susie was right. I love throwing shade at her. I mean, she's my favorite person. Okay, so
if you haven't seen the Susie Orman video, you've got to check that out.
You have to. Ray did one. I did one. We covered on the show. So sooner or later, homeowners in this frothy U.S. housing market must pay the piper. It's all just the whole thing. Recently, the Federal Housing Finance Administration, FHFA, conservator of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, extended the moratorium for both evictions and foreclosures until the end of the year. Many homeowners breathed a sigh of relief. Indeed, over the past few months, the number of borrowers with active forbearances has declined. Okay, so cool. But that's no reason for optimism, Ray. Why? Why would you look, Ray? Why would you look at that as a positive? That's stupid. You're stupid for being positive. The more serious matter is how many homeowners are now delinquent. By the end of 2020, several million borrowers who have received mortgage forbearance, several million, it says. But the other article says 1.7 million total. What does that say? Let's go back. Where is it? It is dropped. Mortgage in negative equity position is dropped by 1.7 million homes. So they don't mention that part. And now that's not necessarily forbearance or otherwise, but a negative equity position, right? So several million borrowers who have received mortgage forbearance will have gone 9 months without making a mortgage payment. That's actually a very important point. Okay. What impact will this have on the U.S. housing and mortgage markets? Let's start with FHA insured, blah, 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 blah. 17% of 8 million insured mortgages are now delinquent. This percentage includes mortgages in forbearance as well as those not in forbearance. Hard-hit metropolitan cities include New York City with 27.2% and Miami with 24% and Atlanta with 21%. So then it's, I don't know if do you have the article up, Ray? I can't hear you, but I see that he has the article up. That's cool.
The opinion piece, yeah, I got that up.
Yeah. So it's got a little chart there. It says delinquency rate, FHA insured homes. FHA. Okay, and I'm not trying to make light of this, and I'm not trying to simplify a very complicated problem. I'm really not. But FHA homes, okay? Another reason for the alarm is private non-guaranteed, non-agency securitized mortgage that go back to the crazy bubble years and which are still active. These were millions of subprime and other non-prime loans that were egregiously underwritten, many fraudulently. So they're pulling, this kind of bugs me. They're going back to, when did we crash? 13 years ago. They're blaming these mortgages that are still, and saying that these are somehow going to affect. I don't understand that one. Maybe you guys do. I don't understand that. At the peak of this activity late in 2007, more than 10 million of these mortgages were outstanding with a total debt of more than 2.4 trillion. That's horrible, right? As recently as early 2018, 25% of all delinquent borrowers nationwide had not made mortgage payments in at least 5 years. In New York State, New Jersey, blah, 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 blah. So I get that. Okay, now I don't want to keep going and reading an article that's just meant to scare people. If you guys want to see it, it's on Market Watch. But all of the stats I brought up, and again, I'm not saying it's something we need to ignore. And I'm not saying it's something, well, just ignore it, it'll go away. I'm not saying that at all. But when you really check the numbers and you see the trend of our V-shaped recovery, right? Or the K-shaped recovery, as Gary Gary Keller so eloquently put it. But it's they're going back to stats from 13 years ago, even 2 years ago, with mortgages that were left over from then, to try to blame that the Rona is going to crash everything. And like I said last week, one part of the market may suffer, but it's going to beget a stronger surge in another part of the market.
Beget, good word.
Thank you. But it's just this idea that everything is going to crash is so far-fetched, in my personal opinion. Again, I wasn't around 12 years ago when it crashed, but I did watch The Big Short, and I know why it crashed.
Paul Conti says, good point, Dan. So much media has an opinion disguised as news. And I'll get to there's a couple of good comments here. WRS Miller says, it's true. COVID-19 has caused another gold rush in my area. People are coming from the cities to rural areas, and they have more space between them. Close proximity to recreation areas. I'm in the mountains, 30 minutes to a ski area and 50 minutes to the world-renowned recreational area. Ooh.
Yeah, and Paige, who was watching, I don't know if she's still here, but she's just outside of San Francisco, like Debbie is. I don't know the specific areas, but she's experiencing the same.
She goes on to say that in the second tier market, they're afraid of the forbearance issues, so it's not going to crash. Then Jeremy James says, summary, it's the end of the world as long as you ignore the reasons why it's not 08 all over again.
Thank you. And again, we are not trying to simplify a very complicated problem or issue, and we're not trying to make light of this. But when you really research it and really look into, first of all, don't read opinion pieces.
Well,
I mean,
and honestly, you don't have to research that far. I mean, if you just watch the show, then you'll know that this is nothing like 2008 because we've talked about it at length. There's no research you have to do. You just have to tune in every Wednesday, 10 p.m. Pacific.
And on that note,
or actually, no, it's 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern.
On the cheese toast, yeah.
On the cheese toast.
So it's just to come up with a big negative clickbaity headline, and then to supplement it with headlines from 12, 13 years ago, or even mortgages from 2 years ago that were happening. And you're not talking about even with, how do they say it, Ray? Home gains slow. Yeah.
Home price gains slow.
Even though home price gains are still slowing, they're still gaining. And now they're gaining like crazy. He didn't mention any of that because those home prices have been gaining over the last 2 years specifically. To not mention any of that, I don't know. You guys just need to watch the show is my point.
Miller said so different. Jobs are great. Economy is great. Even though we're all shut down and extra restrictions, no crash. Thor says, cheese toast. Yeah, there is. Part of the reason probably why there hasn't been a crash is because the economy was so strong to start the year. We were in a place that we had been in years and years and years and years and years. With super low unemployment. There were even minorities that were better off than they were. I mean, there were all kinds of pluses for the economy, and then a worldwide pandemic hits. So we have been able to fare it pretty well. And actually, I don't even think now it's slowed down. Everyone's just going everywhere and wearing masks. Well, most people are just wearing masks. Everything's kind of normal now. Like, I don't know it's hard for me to remember what normal was before this was normal. Like, what was I doing different? I was just going into the same places I'm going into now and not wearing a mask. I'm kind of an introvert anyway, so I didn't go to that many places.
Yeah, like I wasn't always at a bar hanging out. So I'm like, I'm not really missing that.
I don't know really what is, maybe not traveling as much. Everything else about life is pretty much the same. People are getting jobs. People are going through life changes. They're outgrowing their house. They're in a house that's too big. They have to move. They have to sell. They have to downsize, upsize, whatever, right size. All of that stuff is still happening every single day. And all of that stuff happened through the crash too. So it's a lot different than it was in 2008. A lot different.
And the circumstances that caused 2008 are non-existent. In fact, because mortgage demand is so high, lenders are turning away business and adjusting their requirements so that, because they're overwhelmed and they can't get things closed in 30 days.
Melissa Mara says it's not like we started in poop and dug deeper poop. Things are going pretty good, and they're still are considering. Yeah. So there's a Trump fan for you. All right. Well, isn't that right, Melissa? Okay. So thanks everybody for watching the show this week. We would appreciate your continued comments on the Zillow topic. Specifically, we may come back around to this next week just to kind of go through some of the people that watched the show recorded, or went to our YouTube channel, watched it there, watched there be more chop of that Zillow thing, because we want to be sure that that our industry is heard in this matter. So definitely send it around to everyone you know. Make sure they know what's going on, because this is definitely the first move that a big giant has stepped their toe in their water to actually taking our place. So thanks so much for joining us. Dan,
and by the way,
could you tell people where people could find you?
They can find me by hitting the share button. If you just hit the share button for the low cost of free, then you can be my friend.
Patrick Haggerty, do you shake less hands and kiss less babies? I know you're both pretty famous. Yeah, I probably do shake less hands and kiss less babies. Chris Leeper,
I do lots of this now.
Week. Jeremy James says, thanks guys, love it as always. Thank you guys for joining. So
hey,
all right, Dan, tell us your handle for the audio listeners.
Find me. I'm not on Facebook anymore. I post this show and that's about it. So go over to Instagram, dlettergrocks, DLUDWIGROCKS. Go find me on Xbox Live too. I know there's a new COD coming out. We can team up and we can go on some duos. Let's go.
I wish I had time. All right, and I'm Ray Zorback, RAYZORBACK, much more active on Instagram as well, even though it's owned by Facebook. Bye, y'all.
And even though they turn your camera on when you don't know it. Bye, y'all.
Well, who knows? Maybe that was me.